and we'll go.
Welcome everybody to our first governance committee of 2023. I hope you all had a nice holiday and are ready to start the year. Sarah, would you take the roll call?
I would be happy to. We have here for committee members, we have Beryl Snyder, Joan Sullivan, our board chair is in the New York City office. For DASNY executive staff, we have Ruben McDaniel, Paul Koopman, Charlie Williams, Nadine Fontaine, Portia Lee, Kim Ellis, Ricardo Salomon, Dina Amodio, Jenna Lee Flinton, Craig Schreibogel, Alex Sardine, Matt Bergen, and we do have a couple members of the public on the phone as well. And Matt Moore, who is our Director of Procurement, is also sitting beside me here at the table in Albany.
Hey, Matt, it's Al, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine, doing fine, thank you.
Good. We have quite a full house here then. The first agenda item will be the approval of the minutes of the October 11th Governance Committee meeting. You've all had a chance to look at them and give any comments. Could I have a motion to approve?
I make the motion. It's Joan.
Second?
You're the committee.
I'll be the second. Okay. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The minutes are unanimously adopted. And the next order of business is the bylaws, which have also been, I believe, circulated to the committee and have everyone has had a chance to review and comment on the minutes. Sarah, would you like to go over and see what the changes to the bylaws have been and review them for the committee?
Sure.
I will then discuss the change.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So staff is at this time proposing revisions to the DASNY bylaws to add the position of the Managing Director of Executive Administration as a DASNY authorized officer. That is a new position. It would be a board authorized officer. Currently, Charlie Williams holds this position at DASNY, and the references to that position appear at various points in the bylaws, sections 4.1, 4.2, 6.1, and 6.7. Essentially, that's the equivalent of a managing director position, and it appears in the same sections as, for example, the managing director of public finance and so forth. So it's creating that new position, as an authorized officer of the board. That's all it does.
Great, but it's important that we change the bylaws so that he is indeed elevated to an authorized officer.
Madam Chair, if I might.
Please.
You recall that Caroline Griffin was the chief of staff of DASNY, position that was created well before my tenure. It became clear over time that she was doing more work than just the chief of staff. She really was an integral part of the management of the organization. And so when Charlie came on board, it was clear that he was not going to be just the quote chief of staff. So we've eliminated that position and created this position that is more appropriate for the function that actually Caroline had been playing all along. And so it is important for us to recognize this position has changed and is one that needs to be elevated to officer position. Charlie happens to hold it now, but we'd expect this to be a position going forward with DASNY that is on the same level as other managing directors as it relates to executive direction and other major initiatives at the top of the organization. I just want to make that point.
Excellent. Thank you so much for making sure everyone is aware of exactly how important the position is and why it is indeed being elevated to an officer role. I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to ask that a motion be made in the committee to recommend to the full board the changes in the bylaws, because the full board needs to adopt them. So I'll move to recommend the changes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, Joan. And all in favor? Aye. All opposed? It has been unanimously moved and approved that the committee recommend the changes to the bylaws to the full board at the meeting tomorrow. The final item for the governance committee is the procurement guidelines. In October, I believe it was October, maybe the last meeting, we went over what these changes would be to the procurement policy and guidelines. So it has already been reviewed, in fact, before the committee. They're not really dramatically different in substance. They're all just pulled together in a more rational, more maybe user-friendly manner. And there's also just putting in the ethics component here as opposed to elsewhere, which it probably still is, but it bears reiterating the importance of it as it deals with procurement. Sarah, do you have anything else to add to it? The most recent amendment was in December of 19. And the way it's written now, it is indeed the best practices. So Matt, do you want to explain anything in more detail? Does anyone have any questions?
Madam Chair, may I?
Please.
I'm not a committee member, but let me say that I thought that Matt's presentation of not just the changes, but the impact of the changes was extraordinary when he did that for us. I guess your last meeting. And I wanted to thank Matt publicly on the record for all the work that went into reorganizing, changing, making more relevant and more user-friendly, to your point, Madam Chair. That we needed the work and Matt got it done. And Matt, I know you're there. I know your check's in the mail. But thank you very much for what you have done for us. Appreciate it.
It was something that needed to be done, and we took it on, and I'm excited about where we can go from here. Definitely a good project.
Thank you, sir.
And Beryl, I also had subsequent conversations with Matt, very productive conversations, just to kind of round out my understanding of the changes, and I was really satisfied. I think they're in great shape. Thank you, Matt.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other questions or comments about it? The changes in the procurement? Just like with the bylaws, we do not approve them ourselves, but we recommend approval to the full board tomorrow. So I'd like to make a motion to recommend changes to the procurement guidelines to the full board tomorrow. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Joan. The women, of course, are in charge as usual.
As it should be. As it should be.
That's even though we're only making whatever 70 cents on the dollar, but whatever.
You get that much?
You get 70
You get
cents?
70 cents?
Compared 70 cents of what you guys get. So
What I get.
Well, that's true.
Exactly. Same thing. Anyway, all in favor, aye. Any opposed? No. The procurement guidelines are approved to be recommended to the full board tomorrow.
And I will just note, Madam Chair, for the record, we are joined by, just so we're clear who's here for board members, Janice McKinney is in the Buffalo office and Jerry Romsky has now joined us as well. We're required to have that sort of on the record for open meetings law purposes.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Do we issue snow shovels to the members who are involved in Buffalo?
Really? Wow. No. You're good right now. Let's kind of move past that.
Well, we are all members of Bills Nation during this season anyway, so we'll get it that way. And the Super Bowl will not be played in Buffalo. Anyway, are there any other questions or comments? Anything that anyone thinks appropriate to be raised for governance, either on the committee or in the staff or not on the committee? Good. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Madam Chair.